right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Terence Bud Crawford and what Jaron Boots Ennis had to say about him and a potential fight between the two. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to be in the 147-pound division, where we have one of the great young fighters in the game about to fight on January 7th on the undercard of Gervonta Davis's fight against Hector Garcia, if that fight goes through. Hopefully it will. And that is Jaron Boots Ennis, who has something to say in response to questions about Terence Crawford. And I thought that it was intriguing and something that I kind of agree with, man. Before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. If you are somebody that is already subscribed and is a longtime supporter of the channel, like my guy, Skip Slick. Did somebody say drip? Yeah, I said drip, Slick Skip. That's my guy, big time supporter of in the live streams, in the Cash Apps and the Super Chats. Thank you so much, brother. And thank you to everybody that supports. Also, the people that support in the super thanks that you can do in videos like this. It's definitely a way that YouTube allows you to support content creators that you enjoy, myself and other people included. Thank you so much for your continued support, but let's get into this. Jaron Ennis is going to be fighting a guy named Kareem out of the Ukraine for the IBF interim title. The winner of that, according to Steven Espinoza from Showtime, will be the mandatory for Errol Spence Jr. Now, is that why that is important that Steven Espinoza said it? It's because Steven Espinoza is the guy that would air the fight. Jaron Ennis is not a PBC fighter. He's not an Al Heyman fighter, but he is a Showtime fighter. So therefore, he does fight on PBC cards. And he is somebody that Steven Espinoza, has invested in and believes in the future and wants him connected, for the long run to Showtime Sports. Great catch there with that kid, because I believe he's already one of the best fighters in boxing. But in the lead into this fight that he has with Kareem on this undercard, he said Jaron Ennis was asked about Terence Crawford. And he's like, look, man, first of all, who do you think is the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world? And he said he went through, like, I don't know, man, Canelo has really got a good record. There's this guy, there's that guy. But he didn't. And he said, Terence Crawford's a good fighter. But he's like, man, there's so many good fighters out there. How do you really pick, how do you really pick one? And related it to Canelo Alvarez, he specifically said that Canelo Alvarez, could be on top because, he's fought a lot of guys, right? And that is true. Now, Canelo Alvarez, in my opinion, ain't fought anybody lately, right? Like the Janet Jackson song, "What Have You Done For Me Lately?" No, he ain't really been fighting a lot of guys in the last few years. I guess you got to give him Dimitri Bivol. I think he took a tough fight on accident with Dimitri Bivol. But whatever the case is, he then moves on to like the comparisons between he and Terence Crawford and said, look, man, to me, Terence Crawford doesn't fight like me. I'm not, he and I are not the same type of fighter. He's like, man, I'm slicker than he is. I do this better than him. I do that better than him. And he also mentions the fact that he doesn't think Terence Crawford's competition, that Terence Crawford has beaten better fighters than he has, right? And if you think about it, I think that there's some truth to that. Definitely some truth to that. When you look at the fighters that Jaron Ennis has beaten and the fighters that Terence Crawford has beaten, and at the time at which they fought, that Terence Crawford fought them, right? Now, clearly, Terence Crawford has some bigger names on his resume. He does. He has Yuriokas Gamboa at 135 pounds. He had an undefeated Victor Postal, to unify belts at 140 pounds. He has, and then I would say Kell Brook and Sean Porter, right? Now, but Kell Brook, I think it was safe to say, was a shell of himself. Not so much with Sean Porter, right? So I think that probably the best win that either one of the two guys have is Sean Porter for Terence Crawford. But when you look at guys like Sergey Lipinets and you look at guys like Thomas Delorme and even that guy Obreu, who was at 154 pounder and much bigger than Jaron when Jaron fought him, I think that those things definitely compare and stand up to the wins that Terence Crawford had against Julius Ndungo. And who else did he beat? What's the guy? There's that one Dominican fighter I thought was a really good fighter, man. But he was an Olympic gold medalist, Felix Diaz. When you look at guys like even Victor Postal, Ray Beltran, and those guys at lightweight, I think that they're, let me put it this way. I don't think there's anybody there below 147 pounds that at any time in their career would give Jaron Ennis really any type of problem, right? And also you have this thing with Jaron Ennis, which something that was said by somebody that Terence Crawford beat in Hank Lundy. And Hank Lundy, when he was asked about the fight, predicted that Jaron Ennis would win by knockout, is that, Terence Crawford is not as big as Jaron Ennis. Just not that size of guy. There ain't no way on the planet that Jaron Ennis is going to be weighing in at 135 pounds at any point in time in his career, or 140 pounds. He's starting in the weight class of 147 pounds. So you're really dealing with a guy that is much bigger, that is longer, and at this point in time, man, is somebody that is a lot more aggressive. Like if you look at the way that Terence Crawford fights, Terence Crawford starts slow, and it takes him a couple rounds where he's kind of like, staying on the outside a little bit, and trying to pick and find holes for against his opponent, where Jaron Ennis is really not doing that. Jaron Ennis is making holes in his opponent. He's somebody that is aggressively going after him, but at the same time being defensively responsible. Also think that there's a good argument that even though Jaron Ennis is more, aggressive than Terence Crawford, that he's also a little bit more defensively sound. I also think that Jaron Ennis is somebody that really does switch stances in a fight, where Terence Crawford, I categorize him more as a southpaw, because he fights the majority of the fight in the southpaw stance. But obviously, because he's orthodox, he can fight in orthodox stance too. But at the end of the day, considering Errol Spence Jr. is more than likely going to be fighting Keith Thurman in April, I hope that this is a conversation that can actually become a fight next for Jaron Ennis and Terence Crawford, because, other than Jaron waiting for the Errol Spence Jr. fight, which I do believe will eventually come to him, provided Errol keeps winning and he keeps winning, I think the easier path and the quickest path for boxing fans to a really good fight is the fight between Terence and Jaron. And I think it's an intriguing matchup. I picked Jaron Ennis to win, but again, in a very, very close fight, man. And I'm not saying Terence can't win, but it's hard for me to see in my mind's eye him doing it. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.